heard this before. I know I have. This song was called Alice's Restaurant, about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant was never the name of the restaurant. That was always just the name of the song. I guess that's why I still call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in his roundabout, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. This is a long freaking song, you know. I don't actually know it anymore, but I can play it, you know. I've learned to actually play this and do almost anything. I mean, I could go skiing, scuba diving, and still be playing this song. I'm dreading this coming January 2015. It'll be the 50th anniversary of writing this thing. If I would have known it was going to be popular, I would have made it a lot shorter. So much for hindsight. But my son Abe reassures me that I can learn it again, because he could put a little iPad down there or something like that, you know. And I thought, why should I be the only one? Let's put it up on the screen. And then we could have the bouncing ball. And then we could have a talk along, or whatever. I thought that is so stupid it would be worth doing. So we're getting ready for that. That'll be a 1.5 year tour starting then. I'm trying to relearn the song before that, obviously. And it's not easy. Like I said earlier this evening, there's only so much room in your brain. And I remember my old friend Pete Seeger, I asked him, like I said, he was in his 90s. I said, Pete, how are you one time? He said, Arlo, if I could remember, I'd tell you. I'm feeling now like I used to have to, I'm feeling for free now, like I used to have to pay for. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got an idea though. Did I tell you the show was over? Okay. See, I even forgot that already. Let me try something. Let me put this down. Exactly. Kid after my own heart. You think that's a bad way to like tune this up? See? See? I was looking backstage. I have a picture of Roy Clark back there, you know. And I remember, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, you might understand what I'm talking about, but there was a time when he was so popular, he put out a book on how to play the guitar, I guess it was. It was called the Roy Clark Big Note Guitar Book. Remember that? Yeah, okay, so all 5 of you. The cool thing was that he had these colored dots, and you would put them on the, fret, and then you would match up your fingers to the color, and that'd play you a chord right then and there. And it was a great idea, except that I realized that if your guitar wasn't in tune, you had to put the dots in different places. And that complicates everything. So I come up with the idea, I thought I was going to retire from the idea This is 40, 50 years ago. And it was called the Arlo Guthrie Supplementary Tuning Arrows to the Roy Clark Big Note Guitar. And what you do is you went and get somebody that knew what they were doing to tune your guitar. And then you stick on these little arrows over there, and they point to another arrow that's on the regular part, and when they match up, then you can put the dots in the right place. I don't know what happened. I just never got any investors interested or whatever you needed to do back then. I made them up myself, but yeah. It's been fun to be here. Thank you, like I said earlier, thank you for coming, and we will, tonight what I'd like to do is, my dad, somewhere in the early 40s, had finished an autobiography. It was called Bound for Glory, and it did very well. Suddenly, they didn't use the term singer-songwriter back in those days. He was known as the Dust Bowl Balladeer, because he put out a record of songs about the hardship of living within that dusty region out there in Oklahoma and Kansas and Nebraska and parts of Texas, New Mexico, and all that. And so he wrote this, put out a record about it, and it's called the Dust Bowl Ballads, and he became the Dust Bowl Balladeer. Until the next record come out, which was about something totally different, and they keep having to change whatever they was calling it. But suddenly in the 40s, he went beyond being a creature of music altogether and wrote this book that did very well. And now he was a literary figure, the likes of writing about the same kind of things like John Steinbeck, And he really loved that. The war notwithstanding, the 40s were pretty good to my father. As a matter of fact, there's a funny John Steinbeck story. My dad had gone to see the movie The Grapes of Wrath when it came out. I was so moved by it, so impressed by it, because it was telling his story. I mean, even though it was fiction, it was true. And he went home, he read the book a few times, and he distilled the novel into a song. It was 12 verses long, about the longest song he ever wrote. It was 6 minutes long, took to sing it. They couldn't fit it on those old 78s they had back in those days. They had to cut the song in half, put one half on one side and one half on the other side of the record. The record finally come out. And within a few weeks, he gets a letter, a personal letter from John Steinbeck himself. The letter read, "You little bastard. How could you possibly say in 12 verses what it took me an entire novel to write?" We loved that letter. We kept that one. And eventually we made up with the Steinbecks. I had to marry off my youngest daughter to one of the related nephews, but now we're all fine. It's worked out pretty well. So like I said, the 40s were pretty good. In the early 50s, though, he wasn't feeling so good. He didn't know what was wrong. He was feeling dizzy and he was falling down and stuff like that. So he quit drinking. And that didn't do nothing. And so he was concerned. He checked himself into a hospital to see if there was something seriously wrong. He was in a psychiatric hospital for 3 months getting evaluated. And at the end of that 3-month evaluation, the head doctor calls my mother on the phone and says, "Mrs. Guthrie, your husband is seriously ill. He's got delusions of grandeur. He believes he's a famous folk singer. He believes he's written books people are reading, made recordings people are listening to." My mom's on the other end of the phone going, "My God, the doctors are nuts." So she goes to get him out of there, but he's made friends now and doesn't want to leave. Well, you can imagine, though, it had to be tough, right, to be in a hospital filled with thousands of people. Nobody believes anything about anybody. Although he did tell me that toward the end of that first 3 months, a new patient comes on the ward one day, walks right up to him, says, "I know who you are. You're Woody Guthrie." My father said, "You know who I am?" The man said, "I loved your book, Bound for Glory." My father said, "You read my book?" The man said, "No, I ate your book." Sometimes you can't get a friggin' break in this world. There was stuff seriously wrong with him, and he stayed in the hospital for the next 15 years until he passed away. But every week we'd break him out of there and bring fiddles and the banjos, mandolins, guitars, friends and neighbors, food of all kinds, sit around playing music all day. We thought that was pretty good. I mean, hell, I know a lot of truckers don't see their kids half that much, so we thought we had it all right. And he kept writing the whole time. He wrote songs while I was in there. He wrote books. He wrote even a play. And my sister's been getting that stuff out year after year. It just keeps coming out. We got tons of it still to come out. This is one of the last little songs he wrote. I'm going to sing it for you, close the night with it. It's a little song that it's only 2 verses long. It's so short, I'm going to sing it, and then I'm going to sing it again. There wasn't a tune to it. I put a tune to it some years back, but I thought it perfectly summed up in a beautiful way his life. So go something like this. Let me see. And by the way, the second time around, I'm going to give you the words. Maybe you can help me out. I have not asked all night. I know this is not like 50 years ago. We'd all be singing along on everything. It's a little too kumbaya for people these days. So if you're nervous about singing along, you know, in a place like this with people you don't know next to you and stuff, just mumble your way through. Trust me, I know people make a living doing it. It's perfectly fine. And when people are singing and mumbling together, something happens. It gets inside of you, fixes things you didn't even know was wrong. And better than that, he gets out of a building like this and gets tossed on that breeze that's blowing through the hilltops here. It blows to places around the world we might not be thinking about right now. There might be friends of ours or neighbors or kin halfway around the world, hiding behind trees and rocks and walls. Other people have been shooting at them forever. And I can tell you those guys can hear on the breeze over there the voices of people singing and mumbling together over here. And the sounds of kids playing. And the sound of the world the way it's supposed to be. And that depends on people like us from time to time, just to keep that in mind. That's what all that kumbaya stuff's about anyhow. So here's a little song. We'll see what you do with it. It goes something like this. My peace is all I've got that I can give to you. My peace is all I've ever had. It's all I ever knew. I give my peace to green and black, to red and white and blue. My peace is all I've got that I can give to you. My peace is all I've got. It's all I've ever known. My peace is worth 1,000 times more than anything I own. I pass my peace around and around, cross hands of every hue. My peace is all I've got that I can give to you. See, it's easy. My peace is all I've got. My peace is all that I can give to you. That I can give. My peace is all I've ever had. My peace is all I ever knew. It's all I have. I give my peace to green and black. I give my peace to green, to red and white and blue. To red and white. My peace is all I've got. My peace is all I've got that I can give to you. Some of you got it. My peace is all I've got. My peace is all I've ever known. It's all I've ever. My peace is worth 1,000 times more. My peace is worth about anything I own. Than anything. I pass my peace around and around. I pass my peace around. Cross hands of every hue. Cross hands of every for coming. We'll see you again.